Oh my gosh, we have really great guests on today's show. Jaylon Johnson re-signed with the Bears. He is here, the star cornerback. What's going on in Chicago? How does he feel? He's a big Justin supporter. How does he feel about potentially Caleb Williams going? Caleb Williams Pro Day. We'll get you set for that if we hear anything. We can't seem to shake these Michigan men. They're just stopping by our show. Blake Corum yesterday. Today it is wide receiver Cornelius Johnson. Some of these catches are insane. 2 touchdowns against the Ohio State in 2022. All about that. J.J. McCarthy, what's he about? Can't wait to meet him. And it's about time we talked about the AFC West, guys. Crowned the best division in all the land just a couple of years ago. Now, ooh. Okay, welcome to the show. Here it is. We got Caleb Williams Pro Day. Hamilton is joining me, of course. We're going to do a little, one thing about we're getting you guys set for the draft, which will be in Detroit, of course. We're going to talk to you about LSU wide receiver Malik Nabers. We're excited. Hammy is here. We're talking on the phone yesterday. We had one of those, really long phone conversations. And we're sitting there, and we're like, well, what happened? We got the Dolphins in yesterday. And that was, bothering me that we hadn't had space for the Dolphins. We hit how the Commanders are sort of like the Cinderella team, if you will. That I think everybody's sort of sleeping on. Who are the winners and losers? And I'm looking and I'm like, oh man, Justin Herbert's that's a tough look for him right now. Right now the draft hasn't happened. And then we started talking, and it's like, we have to deliver this awful blow to the people right now. And, to the 31 teams that have all this optimism and hope. It's what March and April and May and June and July are all about. And we got to say, the clear winner, slam dunk, unquestionably, of all of free agency is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. It's bleak in that AFC West outside of Kansas City right now.
It's kind of
with the way this offseason's unfolded.
It's kind of a balloon popper, It's kind of like it takes the air out of the room sort of thing. But it's so true. And then you look at the division as a whole, and we're going to dig into it. So thanks, Hammer, for all the research you did on this. But we were sort of laughing at the comedy of errors that right now, of course, there's still optimism. The draft is ahead. Things can happen. But, you look at what could have happened at KC with 31 teams were manifesting with some sort of Ouija board thing in their basements the past couple of months to happen to these champions. How can we take them out? Chris Jones will go away. They won't be able to re-sign him. Snead is going to hit free agency. They're not going to be able to bring back Tranquil, all this. But Brett Veach, as always, in his bag, finds a way to bring 95 back in the folds. It tags Snead, adds Marquise Brown, low-risk situation. Now, of course, Snead could still end up getting moved here, but the Chiefs won't end up empty-handed no matter what they do there. The only thing left to figure out is the left tackle spot with Donovan Smith still sitting out there on the market. But other than that, Kansas City is basically running it back again across the board as they chase a three-peat. They're chasing the three-peat, and it looks like it's a walk for them, at least in their division, at least now. It really made me think, what's even better for KC, the biggest part of it, bigger than that big 95, might be the rest of the measly AFC West. What is going on there? It is like a sigh fest. It is a fest right now, okay? There's some good, but not enough. There's just not enough going on there. There were headlines 2 seasons ago that was, the AFC West might be the most competitive, best division, not even in football at the moment. ATM, we're talking in history, whoa, my gosh, you got Russell Wilson and all this stuff's happening. These days, Herbert, stripped of everyone. We'll get into it. These days seem like we're, this was yesterday, we're talking about this, and it's the most putrid division right now. You can't convince me otherwise. The least compelling, I think. I don't know the least compelling. Maybe least competitive with the sort of distribution of wealth that's going on between the Chiefs and everybody else. And if you look at those Chargers, I will usually have a Chargers helmet up there. I love this team. They've gone through a massive purge when it comes to the offense here. Eckler, a commander. They trade Keenan Allen to Chicago. They cut Mike Williams. He just signed with the Jets yesterday. Congrats to him. Big fan of him. It's kind of stunning the success the trio had when they're healthy. Taylor Lewan, he said this team's going to make it to the playoffs in 3 years. When I heard that, I was like, that's not saying anything. What are you saying by that? And here's what he had to say about the team-building approach on Monday.
When Delaney Walker was at the San Francisco 49ers and Harbaugh was hired, he walked in the meeting room and he said, all your traditions are done because you guys are losers. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut the grass so we can find the snakes.
It's a great bite, right? And I love all of those players. Were they snakes? I don't think so, right? They're good, viable players. But I guess the more you think about it, maybe it was time to shake things up a little. The offense was 21st last year, 13th the year before. You think about Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Between the two of them, a lot of games missed over time. And Justin Herbert did have to throw to some lesser-known guys. It's a lot to put on their big receiver, who's going to have to step up, and some of these other guys that they're going to bring in. Without Eckler there, that's a little crazy. They sort of set it on fire. The challenge is in front of Harbaugh, a wild card. New GM, his friend Joe. And the part, and Hamilton, I'm just going to have you come in here, because we're looking at this roster, and the Greg Roman of it all is fascinating, because you have this great, and Roman's like, oh, we can get him to run a lot. Like, Roman's talking initially, he just got the gig, but he's like talking about giving Justin a run game. Gus Edwards, sure, but like, did he not have a run game with Austin Eckler, who scored like 95 million touchdowns like a year ago? Like, you kind of took away his, and then like, we're gonna design runs for Justin Herbert? We're gonna design runs for Justin Herbert?
Yeah, with the injuries that Herbert's been through, I don't know that that's the best idea. And it is going to be interesting, because this is an offense, or has the pieces of an offense that we haven't really seen from Greg Roman. He has a lot of history with the Harbaughs, as you mentioned. He was with Jim in San Francisco, was a big part of the success that they had with Kaepernick. He was in Buffalo with Rex Ryan, with Shady McCoy and Tyrod Taylor. And then obviously he was with the Ravens with Lamar. So all his offenses have really been built around the running game in the past. It's going to be interesting to see what he does with the way the Chargers are constructed and with Justin Herbert.
Greg Roman and Justin Herbert? I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe. He's had a lot of success. He's gotten the best out of a lot of quarterbacks. Am I missing it? Like, clearly they're going to grab a wideout in the draft. They have to.
Yeah.
But then,
and it's it's an interesting chance for him to kind of reinvent himself here too for Greg Roman, because we haven't seen him like this. So I feel like that's the way to look at it. But it is a curious choice on the face of it, because
that's a sexy thought. Greg Roman, like, what else you got? What are you going to do in this? I just know that in August I was in Costa Mesa, and I was like, I was like shooting fireworks out of my ears for Kellen Moore. And I'm sitting there like, let's effing go. Kellen Moore, like, because that made sense to me. It made sense, like, a guy who's creative, big arm, like match made in heaven, let it ride. And then it didn't, and obviously injuries were a part of that. So I think what's happening is the Chargers, I've been with them for so long, like, it's like my longest lasting relationship. Like, I've been with them through the thick and thin. Maybe they're really trying to lose me. Jim's like, she's the snake in the grass that we need to get out. Once we have Kay finally lose her faith in us, that's when we'll strike and be competitive. Because right now, I'm not excited about the Chargers. And I'm actually a little peeved if I'm Justin Herbert, because I think if as an NFL fan, I want to see him in the best situation. There was an interesting article I sent you. I don't have the writer's name off the top of my head. It was in a USA Today piece likening him to Matthew Stafford, which I found interesting. And, like, maybe, Matthew Stafford in Detroit all those years. Granted, Matthew Stafford had talent some of those years. He did. He had a good run game. He had, we and I have talked about that at length. But, the organization, the system, the whatever. And then Matthew Stafford later in his career gets plopped into a great situation and goes ahead and wins the Super Bowl. Like, is that the sad story for a Justin Herbert?
He's still so young. We can't ship him off.
Let's have him get beat up by Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby for twice a year. This will be a great. Oh, and then who's their center? Like, we're just gonna, like, go ahead. 95 is back. That must be really fun for you. I don't know.
Yeah, there is that feeling that they missed cashing in on his window, because we looked at it yesterday too. The price tag is just going to keep going up and up and up. That cap hit is going to keep climbing, and it's going to be even harder with each passing year to put those pieces around him. It
was Jarrett Bailey, the USA Today writer. Thank you, Goldfarb, for putting that in my ear. Who he did really well. It was a well thought out thing of, like, what are we doing from the Justin Herbert team? Like, if you're on Justin Herbert's team, like his personal, you're like, oh, okay. Keenan, see ya. Williams, see ya. Okay. But really the thing is, the star on that team right now is Harbaugh. Harbaugh, you're the star. Greg Roman, okay. Reinvent yourself. Part 2. Nobody loves the second act more than I do. All right, then let's go to the Broncos here. Love the, okay, they do it. They rip the Band-Aid. They get rid of Russell Wilson. We all saw it coming. Fine. We don't know what's going on with quarterback. They clearly have to get one. The quarterback carousel, it has been spinning. You had the Cousins, you had the Justin Fields, you had the Minshew, the Sam Howell. I thought for a second, okay, Sam Howell, come to town. Smart, mentally tough. Mentally tough, I think, is important to Sean Payton. I thought, like, Sam Howell got knocked down a lot, got back up. Like, Sean could do something with that. We saw what Sean did with Jameis Winston before the injury. He was turning the tide with him. There was talent. There was something there. Josh Dobbs, he changed teams, right? The Broncos have sort of stood pat. Do I think they like Jarrett Stidham? Sure. Ben DiNucci? I don't know. But they can't be the only quarterbacks in the depth chart. They are certainly not the answer, even if it is a rebuild. And Sean Payton, I don't know if he views anything as a full rebuild. He's never going to try to, lay down and just, do his thing. He's going to want somebody strong at the top. And here's, there's potential quarterback options for Denver via trade, via some options. Like, they have the 12th overall pick. I don't think that's enough. They're most definitely going to have to trade up if they want one of the top guys. Tannehill's still out there. Wentz is out there. I don't know. Wilson, we were hearing links from him to other teams, so you got to think that the trade lines might be open to the Jets on that one. Davis Mills, if Houston's willing to make something happen, maybe. There's no clear path to a move here that makes you feel a whole lot better about the quarterback situation. But maybe, the pair of Paytons running the show in Denver have something up their sleeve. They're going to have to move up quite a bit. There's even a chance if they might move down. They might move back if it doesn't work out for them, because you got to think Minnesota ahead. There's a lot going on there. And finally, there's the Raiders, right? The Raiders. Oh, by the way, this whole, I don't know, Hamilton, how you feel about this quickly, but a lot of Surtain rumors out there. Rebuild mode, trade Surtain because you could get a couple first rounders, a la a Jalen Ramsey thing from the Jags. They got a lot back for that, but then they got ETN, and then they got a guy who virtually did nothing for them as those choices. Like, the draft's sort of a tough thing. Like, Surtain's a piece you can build around, but it's an interesting conversation whether or not to bid adieu and let him go to a contender right now. But he's still so young.
It is. And if you look at that roster, I mean, with what we know about Sean Payton and what he's been able to do, every single season, even when things have looked bleak, he's competing. He's trying to win. If you trade Surtain, the talent level on that roster, there's just not a ton there. He is really the only guy you look at as like a true star on that team.
You're going to have to pay him. Can you build a defense around a star corner? Because he can't win a championship himself. Can you do that?
Yeah, and it's tough because the Russell Wilson contract, the money situation right now with them, it's tough because of what they have to pay out of Russell Wilson still. So that makes it even more complicated paying Surtain. But I think he's a guy that I do think you make a cornerstone of your defense going forward for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I want to get to the Raiders here. So they have so we know that we know the Chargers have a great quarterback. Like, should be one of the best in the freaking league. Then you have the Broncos, who is a big question mark, and then another kind of question mark, but something that gets me a little juice. Like, I would like to see Gardner Minshew have success with the Raiders. They get him. Happy for him. He earned the right to be a starter after his performance last year in Indy. They make the splash with Christian Wilkins. We love that. Like, sorry, that sucks for whoever the quarterback is, the Broncos. Like, sorry that you're going to have to face them twice a year. That's not fun. But there is some momentum. Can Antonio Pierce carry that over from last year in a full first season? I think so. I don't see why not. But he's going to, he's having to coach against two really prolific, high pedigree guys who are also sort of like maniac wild cards. He's going to have to keep up with those yahoos in Jim Harbaugh and Sean Payton all year, which is fun. And Andy Reid, by the way. I guess I should mention maybe the greatest coach of all time, Andy Reid in that division. So that's interesting. It doesn't seem to be a long-term plan, though, with Minshew, right? And they lose Josh Jacobs. That had to be hard. He was a huge part, almost like the identity. They have Zamir White and Alexander Madison and veteran Amir Abdullah. Okay, is that enough to fill that void? Is that enough to help Gardner out? Can they repeat what they did? I don't know. Lots of bulletin board material that they've been feeding KC, by the way, this offseason. So a lot of questions about the franchise. A lot of restructuring going on out west. I don't know. KC's at the top, and then everybody else needs to figure it out. And maybe everybody wows me and everybody in the draft. Who out of those three teams? I guess you'd have to say it's the Chargers that are the biggest contender to this thing, especially with all the questions at quarterback with Minshew and the Broncos. I don't know. Okay, we're going to take a break here. We're going to be back. We've got to get to Jaylon Johnson. We've got to get to Cornelius Johnson, both on the show. A prospect, a bona fide superstar corner for the Chicago Bears joining us. I'm going to tell you, March Madness is happening. Am I going to get sued if I say March Madness? Do I have to say a different thing? Cinderella teams, next. Can we say March Madness? Oops, I said it again. Can I say it? Okay, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things that you can't print out or whatever. The big game on Sunday night. I don't know, Well, you can't do what? Did you find this guy, Richard? Okay, thank you, Marissa. Hamilton.
Yes. By the way, as we're talking, and I know he's not watching the show, my brother, he sends me this of my nephews just randomly because I got them those jerseys.
I'm obsessed. I love that you get to see them soon. So cute.
I know.
They're so big. Can I see that again?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're huge. They're freaking huge. Yeah. Monsters, titans of their time.
Yep.
A little Romanowski. I would expect nothing less. I just want to say, I remember when Dalvin Cook, I'm just going to spice this up right now. I remember when Dalvin Cook was the talk about trading him. I was sitting at my home studio, and I was like, this is a dumb move. I don't think And all of the talk about Alexander Mattison being the second coming of Walter Payton, may he rest in peace, of Alexander, and I'm not saying that he's not a good player, but that he would be no problem, get rid of Dalvin, and now Alexander Mattison is hanging out in the AFC West. Just saying.
Yeah, it's less about Madison and more just, I feel like, the underappreciation of what Dalvin 100%. Cook did for that team and the thought that you can just plug in, any running back and he's going to be as successful. Dalvin was a special player for them. I
just don't know, what is the plan in the AFC West? What are we...
Yeah. It seems like it's a long-term plan, at least for the Chargers and Broncos with what they're doing right now, kind of purging,
is the plan
restructuring
just we don't care because we just have to wait for Mahomes to retire? Is that we're just gonna AFC East it through the Brady years? Yeah.
They're gonna be waiting a long time. I feel like this thing isn't going anywhere in Kansas City.
Greg Roman might be my most fascinating
Really. The more we talk about it, the more intriguing
he's in the Harbaugh family. He's friends with both those Harbaughs. And we're just going to do RPOs with, Justin Herbert. We're going to, sorry, what are we doing? Okay, great. Great. All right, let's get you set for the draft, which is, I don't know, some number of days away here. A little, a month and 5 weeks. 5 weeks away in Detroit, Michigan. Can't wait for that. We want to tell you one thing about draft prospects every day. And one thing about LSU wide receiver Malik Nabers is that he's done something no other LSU receiver, and that's crazy, has ever done. He has set, setting any school records, a big whopper here, but setting an LSU receiving record, as we all know, is next level. Nabers enters the draft as the Tigers' all-time leading receiver. Are you kidding? You can see where his 3,003 yards stack up against the Justin Jeffersons, OBJ, heard of him, Jamar Chase, Jarvis Landry, anyone? This is rare air. Nabers did not work out at the combine, so he got a little, lack of hype going on, which I love. I love that. He's probably going to pop off. LSU's Pro Day is coming up, so whatever. But those stats are actually crazy, and he stacks up athletically. He's drawing comps to fellow LSU standouts, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and if you look at it, he is a trending upwards player, okay? And he's going to be the hottest little ticket, I think, right around draft time when it matters. So we're hearing rumblings. Some teams even like him a little bit more than Marvin Harrison Jr. Shock. Horror. Daniel Jeremiah has him going, gosh, it's 6 to the Giants. That's his mock draft that came out yesterday. So maybe we see, I don't know, Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. Maybe that's who they've got circled, and maybe that's what makes sense about shipping Keenan and Mike Williams and everybody out. Maybe he's going to add Nabers to the room at the receivers and Costa Mesa and Los Angeles. But wherever he goes, I think he's going to be that rookie receiver. Everyone's talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. Love him. There can be more than one. Instant receiver making an instant impact out the gates. Broke a record in that company. That's rare air and should be celebrated. All right, we got more to get to. And let's talk to a superstar, shall we? Oh, snap, that music was like scary. That was We Mean Business. And this guy stands on business, as the kids say. He's coming off the best season of his NFL career. All-Pro, Pro Bowler, PFF's top-rated cornerback #1. He calls himself a rare breed, and he certainly is. Welcome back, the star cornerback for the Chicago Bears, my hometown, Jaylon Johnson. How are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Good. You got a smile on your face, and I'm sure you're happy about the new contract. Congratulations. They lock you in for 4 more years. Career high in interceptions and pass breakups. Well-deserved. How do you feel?
I feel good. I mean, I'm actually smiling. I got my little girl in the other room trying to get her ready for school. But, I mean, just overall, just enjoying it all. Just the new process of having that new contract, mentally preparing for that, what that's going to be like off the field. But then not only on the field, but going in and having that confidence, really going and playing free and playing like the play that I know I am, and just continue to stack years. I think that's what it's about for me at this point. Continue to stack Pro Bowls, All-Pro, continue to stack phenomenal seasons. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
But Jaylon, nothing changes at home. You're still like packing lunches, and you've got to be on like car duty, right?
Oh,
What do those mornings look like at the Johnson residence?
I mean, the hardest thing really is trying to get her up, waking up, get her going a little bit, and then kind of do it by getting her in the shower a little bit, letting the water run on her, and she kind of can wake herself up a little bit, and then kind of just getting her dressed, getting her hair done, and then grab some school snacks, like you said.
What are the school snacks? What are you loading her up? They better be cool snacks. Like, this is like, I saw what your contract is. You better be loading her up with the good stuff.
No, you gotta load her up with the stuff that she likes. I can't give her everything that I like, but I mean, she likes the Lay's chips, the original Lay's chips. She likes the Ritz crackers, the little chicken biscuit crackers, Capri Sun. She like apples. She getting into fruit a little bit, so I try to pack her some apples. But now she's doing pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. You can go back. I wish you would give me snacks before I came to work. That sounds amazing. All right, let's get into some of this. Speaking of greatness, you have to walk me through this. This is your first pick six. Let's just celebrate Jaylon Johnson today. We're so happy for you. We're happy you're back in Chicago. Lots of excited Chicago fans. This is against the Raiders. Talk me through this. I mean, this was one of your 2 in this game.
What did I see? Honestly, this one was just I feel like God just gave me a hunch on this one. I can't lie to you. I didn't see too much. Yeah, I just kind of because it was like, I mean, I was already playing so far off. It was already 4th quarter, so it's like, to me, I didn't think everyone would just throw the ball over my head. So I kind of just settled my feet a little bit and then kind of just hoping like, hey, if he stops his feet, I'm gonna break and cut it off, and hopefully he throws it. And I kind of read Devontae, of course, but I think honestly it was just more of a hunch, I think, on this one.
Bears fans have a lot to be excited about. DeAndre Swift in the building. Gerald Everett, I'm looking at the additions here. Kevin Byard, love him. Good veteran, good guy. Obviously bringing in Keenan Allen, which is like, I'm here like, what Chargers, what are we doing? Keenan Allen, bona fide, like monster when it comes to route running. He's a veteran too. Which is amazing. And yeah, you know, by the way, you ended the Pro Bowl with the pass breakup on Keenan, didn't you?
Yeah. I think we still got to resolve that. He thinks I was holding. I thought it was pretty legal, but I'll talk to him in person about it and see if we can get a common ground on what happened.
Wait, he put out a little message, apparently. Take a listen.
Yeah, so Jaylon Johnson, he kind of got the best of me in the Pro Bowl.
Keenan's been the go-to guy. Jaylon Johnson.
But you have created a rivalry, so these one-on-ones in practice are going to get real special. And you owe me, too, because you know you was holding. Wait.
What do you think?
That's good. Hey, I love it. It's funny because as soon as we got him, the first thing I was thinking about was the one-on-ones. I'm not even thinking about what he's going to do for our team. I'm like, man, I can't wait to go see him in practice. I mean, I'm waiting. I can't wait for camp. I mean, yeah, he's on my team, but I think just going to be able to compete against a guy like him every day in practice, every day during this camp, I think we'll make each other a lot better. I know he's a savvy vet, a savvy route runner, a guy that is really crafty, a guy that I've always been a big fan of, considering the work that he's done in this league. And I think for me, just being excited to go against that competition. And I think he'll push me a lot. He'll be able to tell me some things that he thinks about, that he sees, and kind of expand my game and horizons as well as a young and developing corner in this league. I think he has a lot of value to me and then also to the team as well. I mean, I can't wait to see him make the plays that he's made so long in this league in the Bears uniform.
Jaylon, what a boring answer. I wanted you to give him that smoke. Like, Keenan's such a shit talker. I wanted you to go back at it.
No. It's, no. That's the crazy part. It's definitely smoke. And I feel like he knows that. That's why he's coming out talking like that. He knows it's going to be a lot of smoke, a lot of energy in practice. I mean, when we get to that time, I think that'll be something that everybody kind of zones in to see. Just, okay, like, what's going on at Bears camp? What is Jaylon and Keenan doing? What are Jaylon and Keenan doing? It's gonna be a good matchup for sure.
What was your relationship with Chicago Bears fans? Because I think they're unhinged and they want to win and they're passionate, but they're also like very sensitive. It's a very interesting fan base. What's your relationship with them as you decide with your career, with where you're raising your daughter, your family, like you want to be there?
Yeah, honestly, I've always had mixed emotions, man, about Chicago Bear fans, but it's hard because we haven't had a winning season since I've been there. So it's like you definitely see the tough love from them. You definitely kind of see the accountability and the passion, the energy that they have. I mean, we were at a game, and I remember this was about 2-3 years ago now. They were booing Coach Nagy, and I think we were almost winning the game. I'm just like, dang, like, y'all kind of on edge a little bit. But, I mean, just when you do win, when you do bring the energy and the passion, I feel like from the players and we win, I feel like you definitely feel the love, the support. And I feel like that's the biggest thing that's missing. I feel like just Chicago sports, I feel like the Bulls haven't been that good. The Bears haven't been that good. And I feel like, honestly, I feel like Bears run Chicago. When you think of Chicago, I feel like you think of the Bears first. And I think just for us, we gotta start winning games to give the fans what they want so they can come and give us what we want, give us that energy. And then even off the field, I feel like it just opens up plenty of opportunities. I mean, guys want to go out more when we win. They want to host us. They want to show us that love that they have. I think it's just hard when we're not having success consistently. So I think that's just on us to go out there and give us that success, but also reap the benefits from it that our fan base will give us.
What is it like in that locker room where you were, and it's because some teams can get used to losing. We just lose. That's what it is. Then of course, like that's not, like you want more for yourselves. How can you guys keep going to the mat? And I as a Bears, I'm from Chicago. I know what this is like to sort of be like, this might be the year. This might be the year. Does it feel different right now?
Honestly, for me, I can't say it feels different because I go into the year every year like think, okay, like, hey, we got some pieces this year. Yeah. Like we can make some noise. We'll look at the schedule and kind of size it up. Like, man, if we can't win 10 games, that's on us. It's like, nah, I don't even want to think like that right now because I've been doing that for my 4 years, going into every year. But I think for me, it's easier to go to bat when I think every year is different. My rookie year was my rookie year. Then going into my second year, then we had a whole culture reset. We bring in the coaches, new staff, and then it's one of those things where it's like, okay, and what are we going to get? What are we going to do from this year? And I think even that year was just more so kind of just trying to develop the foundation of what the Matt Eberflus era was going to look like. And now this past season, picking up a lot of big-name guys, picking up DJ, picking up Tremaine, TJ. So I think just building those guys, you think, and you go into it and you think, okay, this could really be our year. Like, this could be a special year. But I feel like, for me, I've had so many letdowns trying to think, okay, is this? It's like, nah, for me, it's just expanding my game, being the best player that I can be, adding the most value to the team that I can add. And then when we get into camp, just at the end of the day, we all got to push each other. We all got to do things that we haven't done before. And I think for us, we can't just keep repeating the same thing, saying the same thing. It's like, nah, we got to step up and we got to start putting actions to our words. So I feel like that's what I'm most looking forward to this year. And even with the whole Keenan thing, it's like that's not just for me and my own sake, but I know he's going to push me to get better. And then if I get better, the team gets better. So I think just that's what this whole camp to me should be about. Everybody picking their matchups, picking their battles, and everybody getting better and pushing each other to be better. So when we go out in the game, it's easy. Because, I mean, I don't think he's going to see a better corner than he's going to see every day in practice. And I don't think I'm going to see a better wide receiver than what I'm going to see in practice. So I think just going at each other like that, I think when we get to the game, everything will be a lot easier. And then it just turns into just execution.
We're at practice. It's camp. It's hot. I don't know if you guys have those crazy. This bear situation is crazy for training camp. I'm closing my eyes. You're on the field. Keenan's jawing at you. Who's throwing Keenan the ball?
You trying to set me up? Who's throwing him the ball? I know right now we got Tyson Bagent for sure. I thought he'll be the one. My guy,
so
White
Keenan's
Chocolate
out
right
there
there.
with the
I know he'll be
second
throwing the ball.
team. Keenan's on practice squad doing his thing. What do you? Let's talk. I mean, we can't not talk about the elephant in the room being Justin Fields, beloved by the players, beloved by his teammates. You, of course, big believer, big supporter of Justin Fields. You see him get traded to the Steelers. What were your thoughts?
Honestly, for me, I feel like I've had some time to kind of digest it. I think it's one thing to be surprised that it happened and then to wait for it to happen. I think it was more so a thing where it was kind of like waiting. Because, I mean, I think the way that I see it, I feel like if you truly believe in a guy, I feel like the speculations would have been shot down. And I think for me, that's when I kind of started preparing for it, when the speculation and the questions weren't kind of like shot down. I'm like, they're probably considering trading them. So, I mean, for me, I was kind of preparing myself for the worst. Okay, let's just already process Justin being traded. And then I think even just having them still that last little bit of hope, I think still was something that I held on to a little bit. But then when you actually see it come across your page, ESPN ticker going off, it's like, damn, my dog really isn't going to be with us no more. And I think it's tough because, I mean, he came in with me and I was young my second year. He was a rookie. So kind of just seeing him grow as a person, as a player, I think for me was something that I really enjoyed. And now seeing him go to the Steelers, I think for me it'll just be another thing that I can support or continue to support him from the outside looking in, continue to wish him nothing but the best until, of course, he plays us.
Until he plays you. And we'll see. I mean, he could win that job. It would be amazing to see.
That's the crazy part. That's the crazy part.
Is it a good situation? Knowing how he plays, is that a good fit for him?
I think so. I think he brings a different element that the Steelers haven't had in a long time. I think, of course, that big play-making ability that he has, I think he can definitely take that and build around that young core. I know they got some really good young wide receivers, tight ends, some good running backs. I know they can definitely do some explosive things with the weapons that they have on offense. And I think really the Steelers have needed that extra playmaker, because I feel like they've always had a good, sound, solid defense. Defense always does what it's supposed to do, and I think the offense is always kind of held him back, not really having too many explosive playmakers or guys to be able to get the playmakers the ball. And I think he can definitely go in there and do both.
Sky's the limit for him. I love a second part of the story. Like, I hope he goes and crushes it. Obviously, Mitch Trubisky had a similar thing, and it didn't work out. But him versus Russell Wilson's going to be like I'm just going to grab my popcorn and watch it happen in training camp. How would you feel if it is Caleb Williams to Chicago?
Honestly, of course, be excited. I think for me, it's one of those things where it's like you kind of hear all the comparisons, the generational talent and all that being thrown around. So I think for me, just excited on that note of it. But I think, too, at the end of the day, it's hard to compare him to Patrick Mahomes and guys like that. Because it's like Patrick Mahomes didn't come in right away and do what he's been doing the last few years in his rookie year. It took him some time. He sat behind Alex Smith. He went through a process. He learned with Andy Reid. He learned from Alex Smith, a veteran quarterback. So I think for me, it's one of those things where it's like just being patient with his progress, being patient with how he comes in, the mistakes that he's going to make, and the plays that he's going to make. I mean, he's a very talented guy. I mean, he definitely do some things with his feet, his arm. He has plenty of arm talent. I feel like there's not a throw that he can't make. I think it's just one of those things that all rookie quarterbacks come in. And even rookie cornerbacks, you got to figure it out mentally. You got to be able to snap back. You got to be able to have short-term memory loss and just continue to go out there and play, keep your confidence up. And I'm I'm excited to see how he does that. I mean, I feel like them bringing him in at number one, I think they've already kind of checked off 99% of the boxes so far, I feel like. And then just really just excited to see what he comes in and the value that he brings to the team.
Jaylon, you're going to make him better.
Oh, no doubt. I would say he'll win the spot as long as he throw the ball to the other side in practice. He'll make a lot more completion.
No, but I think not even how great you are on the field. And you're in your bag right now. You got your bag. You're set. You're good to go. I know you want more, even more for yourself. You want to stack Pro Bowls and All Pros. but you're going to make him better just the way you're talking. There's this whole element of his success, his LA. There's like this weird stuff. I don't really subscribe to it, the Hollywoody sort of stuff that's going on. But like guys like you in that locker room, you're going to set the tone a little bit, sounds like, for whatever rookie or whatever quarterback comes in there. Is Eberflus up for that? Like, is he up for?
I hope so.
Like handling a Caleb? I don't know him. I don't know.
I think honestly, I feel like you just humble yourself coming in the building. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like you can't, like you said, you can't bring that Hollywood stuff into the building, especially now with guys who played this game. I feel like at a high level for consecutive years in the league. It's just something that guys like myself, guys like Tremaine, TJ, I mean, just the vets now, Keenan Allen. I mean, you just adding certain guys in the locker room. I feel like we're gonna see through, and it's like, nah, that what you did in college, the Hollywood, it's like, nah, that you got to prove yourself. That stuff like that doesn't matter. But I feel like you gotta get to know him too. I think it's a fine line between trying to prove a point to him, but also getting to know him. Because I mean, at the end of the day, we want him to be the absolute best he can be. I mean, that's what we're bringing him in for, to win games. So I think truly just learning who he is as a person, learning him deeper than just all the Hollywood stuff you see, but actually trying to learn and get to know him, and then from there knowing what pushes him. If it is trash talk makes him crumble, then I mean, I feel like we got to push that button, because people in the game, they're going to push that button. So just depending on whatever it is that he needs to be pushed at, I feel like that's our job and that's our duty as his teammates to make him better, to strengthen his weaknesses.
Church of Jaylon Johnson. I'm loving it. I'm so appreciative. This is like beautifully said, and I'm happy you're in that locker room with them. I am. I really am. Speaking of Hollywood, let's talk about the camera, right? The Jaylon cam. The Jaylon cam you're rocking it this season. Well, you're 24 years old. You're here at the Pro Bowl with the Sony Handycam camcorder from 1999. Are you an old soul, or are you the next Scorsese? What is this?
A little bit of both, just kind of having fun with it. I mean, I kind of like it. It just gives you a vintage look. I think for me, that's just kind of what drove me to it. But honestly, it just started as like a joke in camp. I was like, man, let me see the camera. I'm going to just record during when we went to Indy and we had a little joint practice. I was just recording, doing a little day in the life. And then they was like, you want to do a Pro Bowl? I'm like, yeah, let me get it. And everybody was kind of laughing and making fun. Oh, you got the old camera, but everybody wants to be in front of it.
Yeah, you got to bring that back maybe during the season. Here's a buddy comedy, by the way, that I don't think you'd like to make, okay, if you were making a movie. Did you see this photo from last week of Coach Eberflus? Speaking of him hanging out with Matt LaFleur, did you see this?
Nah, I'm not even on social media, so nah, I wouldn't have even seen it.
Oh, you're smart.
And I know the Bears didn't post it.
I'm sorry. Is this allowed? Would you like to say something to your coach? This is him on
Honestly,
the floor.
I'm with it, honestly, because, I mean, I can't say that I wouldn't hang out with a Packers player. I mean, I've kicked it with a few sometimes. I mean, I can't knock him for that. And it's not like he just posed for the picture. He was just so happy to be in the picture, but they just snapped the picture. So I'm not mad at it.
Okay, you can hang out with Packers players, but you can't pull an Eddie Jackson and bounce up there, okay? Ever. We've got you locked for 4 years.
What you mean bounce up there? He went to the Packers?
I think so, yeah. Didn't he, Haley? I think so, yeah. We can't have that. You got to stay in Chicago.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you. Jordan Love, are we getting it right finally about him? Like when you see people's reactions, like how do you size him up? Because nobody was talking about him the first half of the season. Then they go on this playoff run. Obviously, Aaron Jones came back, but like in facing him, are you like, oh, he's that dude?
That's tough. In short answers, I'm going to say no. I feel like he's that dude. I feel like it's only a select few of those.
Oh, God.
I feel like, no. I feel like,
I'm
to
glad
me, it's
you're
like,
not on social media, Jaylon. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, no. I mean, you're saying is he that dude. To me, Patrick Mahomes is that dude. Like,
okay.
Joe Burrow is that dude. Like, I feel like it's only 2 or 3, maybe 4 guys that you just consider like that dude in the league. I feel like he's definitely very good. Like, I mean, like I've expressed all the time, I definitely feel like he's a very solid quarterback. He can make a lot of throws. He's very smart. I feel like he's definitely got the experience that he needed, and now I feel like he's even more confident and more capable and just only getting better for sure. But I mean, I think for me, the way I see that phrase is that dude, I feel like it's only a select few guys that are in there, and I feel like he's trying to work his way into that, of course. But I mean, I still feel like he's really, really good. I just couldn't just put him in that dude category. I feel like for me, it's only 2 or 3 guys.
Is he a dude that's above a Jared Goff or below a Jared Goff right now?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good question. Above or below Jared Goff? I'm going to say above. I'm sad about.
So he's not a dude and he's not that dude. He's just finding his way somewhere in between.
Yeah, definitely definitely a really good quarterback in this league for sure.
Yeah, I don't want to let you go before we talk about the amazing work that you're doing with your charity. Tell me about Kevy's Vision. It's going on, I think, in Fresno. That's where you grew up. Tell me about Kevy's Vision and this golf classic you have coming up.
Got you. So now Kevy's Vision just started with my friend. He was shot and killed back in 2021. And for me, just kind of wanted to do something to keep his name alive. He was a young entrepreneur. He had a giving heart, a loving heart. He gave his clothes away to the homeless. He wanted to go to visit hospitals and give his clothes away there and just show a lot of love and support throughout the community. So I think for me, just once he passed, I think just getting with his mom, getting with the right team, everybody that loved him, just kind of putting together a vision. And I think even it's funny calling it Kevy's Vision because I found a text message some years ago and just asked him what he wanted to do with his business, where he wanted to take it. And he kind of just told me everything he wanted to do as far as like community related. And it's pretty much everything that we do now. And it's the Christmas carnivals, the feeding the homeless for Thanksgiving and things like that. And just now we got a scholarship in his name this year that we're looking forward to giving out at the Black graduation but here in Fresno, California. So, I mean, just everything that we're doing is things that he wanted to do and things that he talked about doing before he had the opportunity to doing it. So I think for us this year, just looking forward to getting the most support we can get at the Kevy's Golf Classic. I got some guys that I'm bringing out there. I don't want to say on air, but I got about 6-7 guys. I'm trying to get a few more to come out and just support the Kevy's Vision, and then just also get a lot of support so we can continue to make our Christmas carnivals bigger, continue to make our can giveaways, our Thanksgiving giveaways even bigger, give more money for the scholarships. And even for me on my end, of course, I can up what I'm doing as well, but just looking for that local support or support from everywhere to just continue to do what we've done in the community of Fresno.
You know, sometimes when you ask people about what they're doing, it's a very quick answer, and it's you hit the beats and you hit the points, and you're clearly very passionate about it, and you're very involved, and I think that's amazing. If anybody out there wants more information about the golf outing at Kevy's Vision Project, two V's, as you see down here, kevysvisionproject.org. Jaylon, I just want to say, just person to person, I think congrats on your contract. There's that's to celebrate, but your vulnerability in the past couple of weeks, your decision to be open about seeking help and therapy for an addiction that you had really transcends all of that. And it definitely touches people that needs to be touched. And I'm just curious, like, what made you do that?
Honestly, it's funny because nobody knew that I was going to do that. Like, my family had no idea or anything. I kind of just wrote it on. I wrote it the night before. I was just on my phone, and of course, I wanted to have something I wanted to say, so I would kind of just type it on my phone. I was typing about giving God credit first, and then just like my spirit kind of told me, like, you can't really show what God has done for you if you don't tell that story. And I think for me, I would have been shortchanging God's glory if I didn't give him that credit for bringing me out of that state of mind, bringing me out of that hard position. So I think for me, it was just like, nah, like, if I'm going to get up here and say, oh, all glory to God like everybody does, then you got to be vulnerable. And I think for me, it was just being able to let myself be in the dark, to let his light truly shine on me, to let him truly, or let people truly see what he's done and how he's impacted my life. And I think there's not anything that God can't do for you. You just got to let him do it. And I think for me, that was really the basis of me coming out and saying it, and kind of just typing it before. I'm just like, no, I don't know. I kind of hesitated a little bit. I'm like, man, but now at the end of the day, everybody goes through things at the end of the day. Nobody's perfect. Nobody has all the answers. Nobody has it figured out. It's like, at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about being able, like you said, being able to impact other people. And I feel like if I can help one person, if I can help 100 people, I feel like at the end of the day, that's why God had me to tell that story. So I think for me, it was about kind of getting uncomfortable a little bit, but also, I mean, it's the truth of the matter. I feel like it is what it is. And at the end of the day, it's just about giving God all his glory.
You didn't have to be. Your willingness to be open about something like that, I think, says a lot about you. And I think it's really incredible and brave. It takes a lot of courage. And amen to everything that you just said.
Appreciate it.
Jaylon Johnson, God is good. You're crushing it. Go crush
Every
it.
day.
Go give Jordan
All
Love,
the time.
not that dude, some trouble this season. Thank you. And give Caleb Williams some trouble, too.
That's the goal.
And, as a matter of fact, Keenan Allen, we got it coming for you, too, from Jaylon Johnson.
He's up first. He's up first.
He's number one. We appreciate you. From now an OG, highly paid superstar cornerback to somebody who wants that level of success, the All-Pro, the Pro Bowls. Let's keep it going. Cornelius Johnson, Michigan man, joining us when we get back right here on Up and Adams. Yeah. That's fine. Okay, that sounds great. We can't, and you think that's better than just like, it's not better to do like, or easier for me to do up till, I'm confused. I know what we're gonna do, then I have to like throw to YouTube and I'm confused. Oh, okay. I'll never know, okay. What a good interview. He's cool. Oh, okay. I was like, gosh, that was really, Jaylon's that's a grown-ass man. Ugh. Him saying that about Jordan Love was crazy, Hammy. It's not because he's right, like he's not, what he said made sense, but obviously. But to say it like that, like, no, he's not that guy. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Glad you're not on Twitter.
Yeah, he didn't really hold back with anything that whole interview. That was one of my favorite interviews I think you've ever done on the show.
Really?
That was, yeah. I mean, he was so candid about every single topic you guys talked about, and was willing to talk a little bit.
He's better than Jared Goff, but he had to like think about it. What?
Yeah.
What would you? Where do you see that?
So now that's going to piss off Jared Goff and piss off Jordan Love.
He's like, I'm the champ.
The whole NFC North.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Players freaking love Justin Fields. I'll just say that.
Yeah, they do.
And he doesn't seem convinced about the young Caleb.
Yeah.
I might be Caleb's biggest fan by the end of this because people are so fancy about him that I might just like be for him all the way through. Yeah. Just because it's the caginess. People are literally like, can you play in the cold weather? I'm like, what are we doing?
There's so many assumptions going on that aren't based in anything.
You know who's not polarizing? Our next guest, who's an actual superstar. Let's do this. Oh, okay. Here we are, back on television. My next guest, cannot wait to meet him. Shrine Bowl standout. Of course, I've watched him. 5-year letterman at the University of Michigan, Michigan man. 4-time academic Big Ten honoree. Hey-o. 2023 all Big Ten honorable mention. Let's not forget just the national championship. No big deal, Cornelius Johnson. How are you?
Good. Good morning. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for being here. I had Blake Corum on yesterday. You've got big shoes to fill.
Yeah, Blake, he told me he was on the show. He had a lot of fun here, too.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you tough questions, Cornelius. No, I'm kidding.
Damn.
I'm totally kidding. Listen, we know Michigan went 15-0 en route to that natty. Little birdie, your dad, Claude, told me that you've been a winner all along. Undefeated and unscored on. Let's shout out those Riverside Gators, baby!
Wow. You took out the old school photos.
I did.
Yeah, that was a crazy time. Back in the day. That's me playing running back right there.
What can you tell me? These photos on your Instagram are absolutely incredible. Were you 5 years old when you started your Instagram?
Yeah, a lot of people, I guess, delete their old photos or archive them. I don't know. I kind of just keep my photos from way back then, from 2012, 2011, 2010, just to like show us. I mean, it's still me, still the same person.
Show me that little running back again, control room. What would you tell this little guy, this little Gator, this little Riverside Gator about what he's going through right now and all the success he's had?
I remember I switched over from running back to receiver probably coming into high school, middle school, high school time period. I mean, at that age, not a lot of the quarterbacks could really throw those route trees like that. They couldn't throw the routes. So I was just trying to figure out a way to get myself the ball, and running back worked out perfect for me. And then eventually I switched to receiver, just gaining different knowledge and still the same skill set. But I would just tell myself, keep going, and it's all going to work out eventually.
And it did. And then you have to make decisions along the way. And you did that, right? January 2023, you said, I'm coming back. I'm coming back to Michigan for a 5th year. You, of course, win a national championship. I'm sure you don't regret any of these decisions. But I'm curious, did the thought ever cross your mind to maybe flirt with going to a school that throws the ball a little more?
That's a good point. I mean, I remember we all came back 2023. A lot of my teammates, we decided let's run it back one more year. We're so close, and we all made that effort to, have that goal to win the national championship, win the whole thing, be legends forever. And doing that, we were able to accomplish that. So that was super exciting. And then, like your point, you can always leave and, try and figure out what there is on the other side. But the way we did it here was a style that could translate well to the pros. So I just want to stay the course and stick with it, and keep my head down and keep working, get that goal.
And, of course, big play experience helps you. A former NFL coach obviously helps you. You played in 3 Big Ten championships, 3 college football playoff semis, a national championship. Plus, you always showed out in these rivalry games. We were talking about it, our big group meeting yesterday when you were coming on. Those 2 touchdowns against Ohio State in 2022. How does that big game experience get you ready for this next level?
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, they just call me big game CJ.
Yeah.
Certain games you got to show up more than others. Certain days, you got to dig a little deeper for those big matchups. And that definitely, a place like here does prepare you for that. Playing on the biggest stage in front of, millions, it gets you ready for that NFL competition and those big games. You're not just playing against lower conferences, the Big Tens, all NFL styles, all NFL defenses. So that's another thing that translates. Also playing with Coach Harbaugh, like you said, he's got the NFL mindset, and that's going to help too.
He's a little wild, though. I'm excited he's back
crazy
in the NFL. He's nutty, right?
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah. We had Taylor Lewan was on Monday, and he told us that when he came in the locker room, he said, we're going to mow the lawn and we're going to cut the grass and find the snakes. I don't even know what that means. You were with him for 5 years. What is your Harbaughism, the favorite thing he said that sticks out to you?
I mean, I guess that makes sense. Mow the lawn, cut the grass, you're just trying to mow the lawn, shut it down, and trying to figure out who's who, figure out if there's any snakes in the building or any mosquitoes in there.
Okay.
That makes sense. I mean, there's some other things I heard recently he had a yard sale or a garage sale or something in his house at Michigan, because I guess he might be moving out west to California. And that was just funny to me. That's, you've seen Toy Story or something. Who has yard sales anymore? I didn't even know that was a thing.
You didn't know that was a thing? Oh my gosh, you're so young. It's amazing. Old people have yard sales, Cornelius.
This man had a yard sale. That's hilarious. He had a yard sale. People just came by probably and just took stuff. That's funny.
Do you think he would be somebody who would argue about price? If somebody's I'll give you $5, he's no, $10. Would he argue?
Yeah, I feel like he would. He put up a fight for it, because, I mean, it's not really about the money at that point. It's about, what he finds worth it. Obviously, $5 is $5. You're not going to do nothing with $5. But, if he's saying it's not worth $5, then, you can argue for something lower. It's just a concept. It's all conceptual.
Yeah. I don't know what he's doing over there with this yard sale that he just had, shipping Keenan Allen out of town, saying bye to Mike Williams. Listen, there's a little space out there out west in that receiver room. Would you enjoy a reunion with him?
That would be crazy. I wouldn't mind that at all. I mean, I remember the San Diego Chargers were one of my favorite teams growing up, with LaDainian.
Oh, yeah.
Vincent Jackson, Legadou Nane. Who else they had? Darren Sproles, all those guys.
Yeah, little number 43 running back there. That was the best.
That was my squad. And then they moved to San Diego. I mean, moved out of San Diego. It wasn't the same necessarily, but I still follow them, like their colors and everything. So it's funny how he moved from the Michigan maize and blue to another type of maize and blue, sort of.
Yeah, Justin Herbert throwing to you wouldn't be that bad either. Just saying.
Exactly. Yeah, one of the greats.
Just saying. I was thinking, there's a wide receiver quarterback duo that went from winning a natty to playing in the Super Bowl. I don't know if you've ever heard of Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase, but that connection seems to be working in Cincinnati. How would you feel about getting drafted as on the same team as your quarterback, J.J. McCarthy?
A lot of excitement will go into that, because I feel like some of these teams, they ask you, who would you bring from your team? Who else say we draft you? Who else would we pick? Who else would you want to play with? And I definitely would say McCarthy is one of those guys, because we have a connection on and off the field. So, like, we know where I'm going to be on the field, and I know where that ball is going to be, because we done practiced it so much at Schembechler Hall and all throughout wherever we go. So going to play with him at the next level would be definitely something like that. If we can recreate that national championship run at the next level.
I'm going to go ahead. I'm kind of good at this. I did pretty well at this at free agency. Like, if that happened, I'd like to see it happen in, like, Minnesota. I know the quarterback stuff is, like, whatever, but you and JJ go there, then you have Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
That's something I'd like to see. And then you can kick Jaylon Johnson's ass twice a year, which would be fun. We just had him on the show. We have this going on. Listen, I want to pump you up a little bit, because I look at PFF, a lot of scouts, the people making decisions, use their metrics, right? You led the nation with an 82% contested catch rate. How are you so damn good when you have a defender in your face?
I mean, I was surprised by that, because I sometimes don't even realize it. You know what I mean? Like, you're going through the routes that you've practiced, and then, sometimes it's just bang, bang. It could happen in an instant, and it ends up being a catch. There's so many examples like that on film. If you pull that up, it just goes into all the concentration drills we do in practice, and all the extra work we get in with our receivers coach, me, Roman, Colston, AJ, all the other pass catchers, and even Blake. After practice, getting on the jugs machine or getting some extra catches in definitely helps with, that contested catch concentration.
And it's not just that, right? Let me give you the love here. You came up with some huge blocked punts, too. Like, you didn't just shine as a receiver. Special teams. You don't see a lot of starting receivers putting in that kind of work. I've heard a lot of guys ask out of playing special teams when they get to your level. Why is it important for you to be out there? We only have 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah, teams, man. Teams is like one of the funnest parts of it. That's like when you go out there with the guys, it's like a ragtag group of guys. One guy could be a linebacker, one guy could be a receiver, corner, doesn't matter. You just get those guys and just playing ball. That's the best thing about special teams. It's not really like you got a position, you're just a ball player. And that's like the most fun part to me. Blocking punts is crazy.
I think 32 coaches are like, oh my God, where can I get him? You can get him in the draft in Detroit in April. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Bye. See, that wasn't hard, Cornelius.